I was asked this question by a member of the Sect of the Horn God. Describe the sect in 3 words. I thought about it for a minute and came up with spiritual without nonsense. Now, before you think I've gone off riding unicorns, let me explain. When I use the word spiritual, I mean spiritual from the Jungian psychological perspective, because much that was once considered spiritual can now be explained through psychology. Also, I come at it from a Jungian perspective because I've always been interested in the big questions when it comes to spiritual or occultic thought, like, why do any of us engage in it? What are we getting out of it? What's it doing? Well, if done correctly, it should be feeding the psyche, thus making us feel whole whether we realize it or not. Partaking in the spiritual is getting to know your subconscious, that great big part of the human psyche that so many people ignore, and often to their detriment. Because when people stop believing in Yahweh, what's left behind is a God-shaped hole, a hole often filled with something just as bad or worse. I think most people are better off just staying in the church, because sheep don't do all that well on their own. Friedrich Nietzsche, an atheist, could see this happening to people way back in the 1800s and prophesied that the outcome for Western humanity would be catastrophic. Now, a lot of people, when they stop believing in God, just start believing other silly shit. Some find the goddess, join a coven, or a UFO cult, while others leave that part of their psyche empty, or it appears that way. I don't know if you've noticed, but a whole lot of atheists tend to get very political after they say bye-bye to the church or synagogue. So, what's going on here? Even though that belief is gone, the need isn't gone. That need to have a master is still there. And since God filled that void, many believe that they weren't accountable for their actions because it was all God's plan or God's will. So on one wing of that political bird, big government and social justice does the filling, while on the other it's nationalism and race. And lately it's been getting a bit out of hand. Now, don't get me wrong, my politically minded friends. I'm talking about the extremes here, where personal accountability has vanished so that those who are weak-willed and filled with self-contempt can now become faceless drones. Okay, so what does this all have to do with the Sect of the Horn God? Well, we give you an alternative to the silly or dangerous ideologies that so often are chosen by those who have run away from their master but are actually longing to get recaptured. Understand that the left-hand path is the path to personal liberation. It's a way to fill the psyche, not to one's detriment, but to one's exaltation.